Hey guys, it's Kaylin here at Full Purpose and Heart, and in this video I want to talk to you guys a little bit more detail of how you can make a lap book for your kiddos on whatever subject it is that you're working on. Now, in a previous video I talked about how or why I like lap books and how you can use them and how to actually tape together all of the folder pieces to make the actual product. But I also talked or mentioned kind of briefly about how I make my own lap books. So I'm going to kind of share a couple of secrets with you very briefly and try to make this video as understandable as possible so that you can make your own lap books as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay. So I have recorded this video a couple of times in an effort to try and clearly demonstrate how you can make these mini books for your lap book. And it has just turned out to be such a process. So this is the last time I'm going to record this video. What you get is what you get, and hopefully I pray that it will be helpful for you so that you can then go to your own computer and make your own mini books for the lap books that you're trying to put together for your kiddos, okay? Hopefully it'll turn out. Okay, there's going to be two pieces to this video. The first piece is I'm going to show you the different kinds of mini books that you can make. And then the second piece of the video, I'm going to actually turn the camera into my computer and I will show you how I make the simplest forms of these books. There's lots of different mini books that you can make, and for me to explain them all to you in this video would be both time consuming and difficult. So I'm going to try and just do the easiest ones in this video. And then depending on whether or not people like this kind of video or this kind of content, then maybe I'll try and show you how I make the more difficult books. And if you have, if you're comfortable on the computer, then you'll be able to do that. They're not really hard. It just takes a few more steps. So if you're not comfortable on the program, then it's going to be more difficult to make. Okay? So let me start by showing you a couple of these lap books, and they're in no particular order. I'm just going to show you based on this lap book that I've made. So this is the lap book Over the Hills to Nugget. This is a book that I made for it's a literature study for the story Over the Hills to Nugget. The book comes from the Good and the Beautiful library. Can I throw this tip in really quick? If you can find a lap book that you're looking for that's already made online, whether I made it or anybody else in the world made it, I don't care. I would really encourage you to get it if it's already done, because yes, it will cost a little bit of money on occasion. Sometimes people offer these resources for free, but the time that it saves is amazing. So it's totally worth it. They're not very expensive. So it is a lot of time and energy and effort to make a lap book yourself. So I would encourage you, if someone's already done the work, just pay them for their services and say thank you for saving me hours of time to make it. However, if you are like me, you'll scour the internet for hours and you won't find exactly it is what you're looking for. So now you're in this seat saying, all right, I got to just do it myself. So here we go. This is how we do it. All right. So when I open this book, you'll notice I have several different kinds of books. When you make your lap book, you want to make it all the different books a little different, just so that it kind of is visually appealing, okay? If everything looked exactly the same, then it's not as cute. So, and cute is what we're going for. Am I right, ladies? All right. So a couple of different books, again, in no particular order. This is an accordion-styled book where you glue the back part of the accordion, you fold it back and forth, and then the top part of the accordion is your title page. It allows you to include several pieces of information. This one in particular is vocabulary, but you can do obviously anything, and it just kind of keeps it all nice and close for you, okay? This is another kind of book. These are called flower books, I think, or something like that. Maybe they're not. I might have made that up. But anyway, they open up and then you can write the information on each of the flaps. This particular one is for the characters of the story. But again, you can do flowers with 4 flaps, 5 flaps, or 6 flaps. In fact, you might even be able to make them more, but it just makes it harder because these flaps get smaller, okay? This is an example of the easiest one. This is what I'm going to show you how to make here in the next little bit in this video. But it's just a shape that's folded in half. The information goes on the inside. So because this is a literature study book, each of these mini books is about one of the chapters. It's like reading comprehension questions within the chapters. So the title of it is one of the chapters, but for whatever subject that you're working on, you just make it a shape and then you put a little clip art on there that goes along with that subject, and then it will allow you to, you know, put whatever information you want on the inside. Here's another example of just a shape folded in half. This is another example of a shape folded in half. It's meant to look like a house. This one's kind of the same idea, but it's a little bit more difficult. I should have put this on the ground. It probably would have been a little bit better to explain it, but whatever. Okay, so here's another example. This is 2 flaps opening, and then you fold it into the center. So it's a little more tricky to make because the image, you have to make sure you put it correctly on your Word page or whatever, on your word processing page. So, so that when they open it, the words read correctly and all that stuff. So it's a little bit more tricky, but it's not impossible to make. It's just a little. This one is the same idea. You have like the folded flap here. This is meant to look like an envelope. Does it look like an envelope? I don't know. Anyway, so you open it up and then you can answer your questions on the inside. There's more examples of just shapes, So nice and simple. This one's kind of a fun one because it has the varying degrees, so you can see the questions all on the front here, and then there are flaps that open up this way. So that's another different kind of thing. Lots of time, you know, this is great for any subject. I could give examples, but then we'll be here all day. All right, so then it gets a little bit more tricky. This is a shape. It's meant to look like a piece of candy. So this includes a couple of shapes when you're actually building the piece. So I have like this is a shape and this is a shape, and there's some other details on the inside to create that flap. So it's a little bit more tricky. It just takes a little bit more time, again, trying to be creative. Here I made a fish, so again, just making some shapes, a little call out button. This is another example of these are just like folding doors. So you've got the 3 doors for 3 different pieces of, this is different questions for the same chapter. Again, these are just shapes. Oh no, this is one of these kind. It opens up 3 ways, so it's kind of a 3-way shape. Then it closes that way, super cute. One single shape. What else do I have here? They just get long, so I have a long rectangle. These are just different shapes that you put pictures on the front so that you can, you know, make them look a little different. A heart shape, and then this is about smoke. This chapter was about smoke, so a fire had happened. So anyway, so those are just some examples of different kinds of shapes that you can do. Now, let's head over to my computer. I'll turn the camera around and let me show you how to make the simplest mini book, which is the shape that opens up as a door. Okay, let's head over here and I'll show you how I do that. Okay, so here I have opened a new document using Microsoft PowerPoint. This is how I make my Lapbooks, so if you don't have Microsoft PowerPoint, then this video may not be helpful for you. But using Microsoft PowerPoint, here we go. This is what we're gonna do. First, I'm going to change the direction of my page. So I'm going to go down here to Page Setup, and I wanna change the height to be 8, the width is going to be 8, and the height is going to be 10.5. Okay, this way when you go to print it, I made those half-inch margins so that when you print it, it's not gonna mess it up, okay? Then you just click OK, saying that it's gonna shift everything over for you. All right, so now I have a blank page here. Depending on how much detail you're gonna wanna do on your page, I like to make a full page so that when my student is doing it, they can do it independently. So let me show you how I do just a whole page, okay? So the first thing that I'm gonna do is just make a title for the page, which I can then copy over to all of my documents, okay? So the first thing here is I've created this box. Double click on the box to change the outline so it's not filled in blue, but it's just outlined in black. This way you can then type, and if you just click in the box and start typing your letters, then they'll just pop up, okay? So here I'm gonna put it mini book number 1. Now for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm actually building right now a mini book for a Native Americans lesson for my student. So I'm just gonna make a slide for that. All right, we changed the font here because we like to have cute fonts here in my side of the mountain. Change the size so it fits nicely. Let's be honest, I don't really love that font. So let's do something different. All right, the font is a little too big, so let's make it smaller. All right, that's good enough for the purpose of our example, okay? The next thing that I'm going to do is create a title here that'll go along with the chapter heading so that my student knows what it is that we're looking at. So here for this one, it's going to be The People of the Woodlands. And then I'm going to type some directions. And through the magic of television, we have changed the font style and finished typing those directions. Okay, now we're gonna do, let's make the box, or excuse me, the mini book next, okay? So for this particular one, like I mentioned, I'm just gonna show you how to do a simple shape. We have all of these shapes that we can choose from, or you can choose any of these basic shapes as well. So for the purpose of this little demonstration, we're gonna do this little teardrop shape. On the teardrop, there we go. Now we're just gonna make the shape, okay? I like to hold down my shift key to make sure that the proportions stay equal, and double click on the shape and make it so that it is outlined in black. Now I'm gonna twist this shape just a little bit here, so it's actually pointing down this way. I'm going to right click and copy, and then right click and paste. And then you have two of the identical shapes. Another way that you can do it is just hit Control D for duplicate, or that's on a Mac it would be Command D, and that would duplicate your shape as well. Okay, then you're just going to spin it around so that it matches and mirrors the first shape that you put on your page. Okay, now you have two identical shapes. I'm going to kind of move it down here. And essentially what would happen is this piece right here is going to be where you fold. So to help that, as you can see in my directions, it says color and cut out the mini book on the solid lines. We want to make sure that this is not where they're going to cut. So this is an optional step. I do it because I'm kind of an overachiever, but it's an optional step. So let me show you how you can do that. I do that by creating this line option, and then I make a line that'll then I put directly over that spot. Double click on the line, and I first want to change the weight of the line so it's nice and thick, and then I want to change the color of the line so that it is white. Here, white. Okay, I don't want to have any shadow, so that it is completely covering that middle line of the two shapes. Okay, then I'm going to hit Control D and duplicate that line, and I'm going to change it so that it's now instead of being solid, we'll make it dashed and black. And we'll put that right over there. Now the student will know that this is the dashed line and that they're not going to want to cut on it. I might even make these dashes a little bit smaller. You know, you can choose whatever you want, but that way they know that they're not supposed to be cutting on that line. Okay, so this is your mini book. This is where the student will fold in half right here. Okay, so when you go to put the images on these, you're going to do it on the right side here. So through the magic of copy and paste, I'm going to put an image on here. So here is the Woodland People's shelter. And we're going to make it so it fits in this little box nice and neat. I'm probably going to want to make it straight. And then we can make a text box under here so that it fits. Let's change the font here. Whatever, it works. Put that in the center. All right, so this is what your lap book would look like. Now, because this whole page I'm going to print off and want to give to my student, I also like to include the questions that are going to be answered as a part of the assignment. So I would put that right here. And then my student will know that these are the questions that I want them to answer as a part of his lap book. Okay. Now, one little tip that I'll give you is sometimes you have to, sometimes you have to, you know, size it bigger or smaller depending on what you want. What I just did there is I grouped it. So I right-clicked and I went down to grouping and I clicked group. That way when you go to size it, then it sizes it all as one shape instead of as different shapes like it did previously. But anyway, so that's what you do. And sometimes I'll get really creative and I'll add this image on there so that the students will know where the glue is going to go so that they can put it in their book correctly. All right? So that is how you do a simple mini book. And then you can print this whole thing out and hand it to your student or put it in their folder or in their drawer or however you organize their schoolwork so that they can finish their lap book for that particular chapter. Now, at the end here, I'm just going to show you one additional tip. Instead of having to rebuild this whole page in case you don't know, if you come over here to the left side of the screen here on PowerPoint, you can either right-click and put duplicate slide, or you can use that Control-D option, and it will duplicate the slide. So then on this second slide over here, you don't have to recreate everything, and you can just change the words like this, okay? And then you can put a different image on here. So I would delete this, and then you can choose a second shape, whatever shape you want to do. Let's say you want to do one of these guys, and then you just do it the same way. Double click, make it so that it's just the outline, duplicate it, and then make it so that these two edges touch. Boop. Like this, okay? And then you'll have another fun little door for them, okay? That's not gonna be ever perfect, so there you go. Just for an example. Anyway, okay, there you go. Was that helpful? Hopefully that was helpful. If you get really ambitious and you wanna try and do more detailed or more intricate lap book mini books, then good luck with that. Let me know if you really are interested in that kind of stuff, and if you'd like me to show you how I do it, give me a like or comment in this video, and if I get enough of them, then maybe I will do it to try and help out those of you at home who are trying to make these really fun memory savers and keepers that you can keep for your kids' schoolwork. So anyway, again, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that hopefully it was helpful for you. You can subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed already and you find this kind of information interesting or helpful to you. And hopefully you will have a great day. Bye, guys.